Hi, I'm Dr. Jean Strayer, and I'm a 5-year cancer survivor, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of the research that I've done over the past few months. Been using the beam ray light for a good while now, but just recently added a tool, a Darkfield microscope, to be able to study what's going on in the body at the cellular level. And the findings are just awesome. I want to show you a little bit about the equipment that I'm using and also about my research as far as what's happening with the white blood cells especially. So let's take a look. This is the camera equipment, the Nikon Eclipse E600 that I'm using with a Sony camera with a flat TV monitor showing the blood cells magnified with a 100x objective. And you can see the action of this particular white blood cell. Now this blood is about an hour and a half after a beam ray session where we did the herpes frequencies for this person. And when we first did the blood stick before the session, it was a very sleepy immune system, and you can see with the movement that's on the screen right now that we've got a lot of enhancement as far as motion, flowing motion with that white blood cell now. The red blood cells are starting to stick together and kind of get old and disintegrated because it's been on that slide for just a little bit, so we've got some clumping, and this person does have some protein digestion problems. Now this man's blood, I'm scanning for white blood cells to see how much action they have, how much streaming is going on. These are the red blood cells. He's got a lot of clumping of the red blood cells. The white blood cells here, these two, are not really streaming. They've got some granular action in there, but they're not really reaching out and grabbing the debris that's in the blood. And there's a lot of debris in here. Here's some spicules in the background. There's a lot of dancing little bacteria out here. But I'm scanning his blood to see what kind of action that we're getting with the white blood cells. Now we're going to do some light with the beam ray, and then we're going to see what kind of results that we get as far as encouraging these white blood cells to activate. It's been really an awesome thing to see these lazy white blood cells, our special forces, really start moving and shaking to get out and start grabbing all the different bacteria and everything that's in the blood. Here's a couple more real sleepy white blood cells. They're just really not very active. And he was very fatigued, he said, too. He just didn't feel like himself. This man is 46 years old, and he had a lot of complaints, and you can see some of the red blood cells are hypochromatic, and some of them have parasites inside the red blood cells. When we did the parasite frequencies on this man, those parasites really started moving to the rhythm of the light whenever we were doing the parasite frequencies on this slide. And these are real sleepy white blood cells too. You're not seeing a lot of streaming. In fact, I don't see any. We do have some of the granulars that are reaching out, but not very much at all. Okay, I'm going to show you after we did the beam ray light on him twice the difference in this man's immune protection from the stimulation of the frequencies of the beam ray. Again, real sleepy. All of this was done one day, and then the next day we did a follow-up on him. We did some light and we did some more follow-up. So I'm going to show you what his blood looks like. And there's just all the difference in both the red and the white blood cells as far as the action on the second day after he had done the light. Now look at the difference in these white blood cells as far as their ability to stream and flow and to reach out and clean up the area around them. A lot more streaming. A lot of improvement in the action as far as the special forces being able to really activate. You have several areas that are streaming now. You can see right here where the kind of pseudopod or the finger is reaching out. You can see all of this activity right in here. A lot of granulars that are loaded with histamine and enzymes reaching out to digest the debris. You can see a lot of action in all three of these white blood cells, helping to clean off the red blood cells. And you can see some of the other red blood cells over here that have little lumps and bumps on them. Those have some kind of parasites in them. And those white blood cells will be pushing cells out of the way that are healthy to get to the diseased cells. And you can see how they're moving and streaming. Really good motion here. So the light frequencies really have stimulated these white blood cells to wake up and to go to work. You can see with this white blood cell, it does have some activity out here. It's reaching out and working on some of this debris that's in the blood, and we had the parasite frequencies going, and the parasites in the center of these red blood cells will actually look almost like they're dancing to the beat of the frequencies that we're playing. So depending on which parasite frequencies are going, we get different kinds of movement, agitation into those parasites, causing a lot of agitation and a lot of the parasites to be released from the red blood cells out into the bloodstream so that the white blood cells can go to work on them. They've got something captured right here and right here in this granulocyte right at this time. Now this is a granulocyte that's working. This white blood cell is really working to get to the trash that's on and outside of the red blood cells. This is a little bit different tint right here. We're going to 2 or 3 different colors here. This real thorny looking red blood cell is a parasitized red blood cell. White blood cell is going to bump up against and take off any debris that's outside the cell, but they will not destroy the red blood cell itself because that's us. They will go after any of the trash that's on it or outside of it. And you can see this pseudopod reaching out with its granules to actually clean up the debris in the body. Very activated, really strong white blood cell. Now this is the third beam ray session. This is after the third beam ray session. Here, after his third beam ray session for parasites, you can see some of the parasites that were within the red blood cells have been released into the bloodstream so that the white blood cells can go to work in taking those out. Still does have some that are in the cells, but now we're getting them out of the cells so that the white blood cells can work on them. Please notice too that the red blood cells are not as congested, they're not as stuck together. We've got some good differentiation now to where they can carry the oxygen throughout the body better and not have as much fatigue. And the white blood cells have been doing a good job cleaning up the debris that the red blood cells have been putting out. Now this shot was taken just this morning, so he has had sinus and parasite frequencies, and we've got a lot better shape to the red blood cell. There's not as much debris. We've got good movement throughout the entire white blood cell. This was of a photo that I took for him of this picture. So we've got a lot more streaming, a lot more action throughout the entire white blood cell. A lot more oxygen can be carried through the body in the red blood cells, and we have a lot more clearing of the parasite type activity that we had within the red blood cells. So tremendous improvement after he has had several of the beam ray light sessions for parasites and for sinus, which were 2 of his main problems. Here's another location of a couple of good granulocytes. Great activity throughout the entire white blood cell, cleaning up everything in their pathway. All of the red blood cells here look clean on the inside now, where the majority of them had a lot of debris in them before. So he's cleaning up really quickly, very, very nicely. He's got a lot more energy already, not having the fatigue. This is a real good shot. Some granulocytes that are reaching out. They're really flowing. Good action all the way around here. Good enzyme action, granular action there with those two white blood cells, cleaning up the edges of the red blood. Now this is the blood of a lady that is dealing with brain cancer and melanoma cancer on her foot. She's been using the beam ray now for several weeks, and we have got a lot of clearing of the parasitized red blood cells. We've got a lot better action in her white blood cells that can eat up the junk, the debris that is in the bloodstream. So we're real pleased with what we're seeing as far as the Darkfield blood studies, as far as the ability of her white blood cells to get in there and work for her. These red blood cells look tremendously better since she's been doing the nutrition protocol that goes along with the beam ray light. So she is doing some awesome cleanup. We've got good granular action in the white blood cells. Here's another white blood cell with good action. A lot of debris in the bloodstream that those white blood cells can clean up. Well, I hope that you can see some of what I've been seeing as far as improvement with people using the beam ray light. It's an awesome tool, and you can see her red blood cells are clear of parasites. We've done a lot of parasite light on her. This is a red blood cell that's called an echonocyte starting to die off. They last approximately 4 months in an average or a normal person. Good looking action of the granules in the granulocyte here. Thank you for watching.